Ma Belle, welcome back to my channel. I've created another beautiful look for you. Please keep watching if you like to see how I've created it. Please don't forget to subscribe and thumbs up. So I begin with prepping the face as usual. The first thing I do is wipe up the face with my Boots face wipe just to remove any residue. Next, I moisturize. You use any moisturizer you're used to. Then I set the face with a primer spray. I brush out the brows and use my brow shaper from NYX to glue the hair down. Next, I pick up my Yanga Beauty Brow Pencil. During the course of me using this, I realized that was a bit too light for me, it was too light for our brow hair. So I decided to switch up. I'm using this first to draw the line, then I switched into my Anastasia Beverly brow pencil, like so. I use this to fill in the brow as lightly as possible. Brush it out with my spoolie, a clean spoolie. Then I go straight to concealing. I use the lighter shade, the skin tone lighter shade for the bottom part of the brows and the darker shade for the upper part. If you'd like to see a detailed tutorial on how I do brows, please go through some of my videos and you'd see my detailed eyebrow tutorial. After grooming the brows to my desired shape, I brush out the excess concealer using my buffer brush, and I set the concealer with my beauty blender and also my MAC powder, that's a skin tone color, just to keep the concealer a bit matte. Next, I go straight into my eyeshadow primer to prime my eyes in preparation for the eyeshadow application. Next, I'll be using a series of 3 different Makeup Geek eyeshadow colors, starting from the Frappe to create my transition color. Then I use my Cocoa Bear, and after that I'm going to be going into my beating. These are the 3 lovely eyeshadow colors I use for my transition. I blend them properly back and forth to make sure it's all blended before going into another Makeup Geek eyeshadow called Americano to darken the crease corner a little bit, just to give it a bit more defined look. Blend it all out again. Then I used a color called Carob, also from Makeup Geek, to further define the crease area, like so. I keep blending back and forth again to make sure I'm satisfied with the blend. Using a clean buffer brush again, I clean everything around again before going into my NYX Jumbo pencil in Milk. This would act as my eyeshadow base, just to give the eyeshadow something to stick on. I go into another Makeup Geek eyeshadow called Flamethrower. It's a beautiful bronzy foiled eyeshadow. I cap it gently into her eyelids before going into my Morph Palette's 35U eyeshadow and using this sort of pinkish purplish eyeshadow. This is just to give it a kind of varied dimension. Finished with that, and go straight into my liquid liner to line her upper eyelids, like so. Next, I use my Mabrook eye pencil in jet black to line a waterline. Then I set the waterline with a Makeup Geek Corrupt eyeshadow. After this, I'm going to be going to all the colors I used on her eyes to smoke out her under eye, like so. So I used all the 3 transition colors. Then I used the Morphe 35U color that I used in the center of her eyes. I blend everything out together until I'm satisfied with the look. This is meant to give it a soft effect. Next, I'll be using my MAC MSF Soft and Gentle powder in a tear duct to open up her eyes, and this is the finished eye look. Going straight to the face, I'm going to be priming her under eyes and her forehead and the bridge of her nose with my Smashbox primer. I'm going to be using these 2 foundation colors, which is a darker shade, which is the NW48, and the lighter shade NW55. I mix them up together and I used my makeup sponge to apply the foundation. I prefer to use this most of the time on my dark skin tone clients because it gives me a finished blend and a good skin work. I carefully walk through all all the parts of our face with the makeup wedge before going into my wet beauty blender to blend everything up together and make sure the under eyes are well blended as well and clean. Then I go into my NARS creamy concealer in Cafe to highlight our under eyes, the bridge of our nose, our forehead and our chin. Blend it all out with my wet beauty blender like so. Next I'll be using my black cup contour stick to contour the sides of our face, the bridge of our nose and our temple. This was applied off camera, so here I am blending them all together, making sure that everything is seamless. Next I'll be setting my under eye concealer with my Sacha Buttercup and my benign topaz powder. I like to mix these two together for dark skin tones. Set all the areas where I highlighted earlier on like so. So I left the face to bake for a few seconds, and when I came back I saw my client giving me some crazy dance steps and moves, and I decided to leave it on camera just to show you girls the fun we have while doing our makeup. Next I set my contour patch with my Anastasia Beverly Hills powder in Carob. This was done off camera as well, I lost that clip. Then I set the rest of our face with the MAC MSF powder in Some Power. Straight to my blush application, I'm applying this beautiful bronze Lorac blush powder on the cheek area. Next I'll be using my Makeup Geek Kathleen light highlighter in Nightlight and Sunlight to highlight the upper part of her cheek area like so, before going into the eye area to make sure everything is clean, defined and blended out properly. So I'm just basically reapplying everything. After this all, I noticed that our brows weren't so equal at the beginning, they weren't long enough, so I decided to extend it. I actually had to extend it a bit longer than a natural hairline. I brush it out and going straight into the lips. I started off with my MAC Lip Pencil Cork, which is a bit similar to our skin tone. I wasn't too happy with the shade, then I went straight into my MAC Chestnut, which is slightly darker than our skin tone, just to give our lips a more defined outer corner. I lined the outer corner further like so. Blended the two lip pencils together and straight to my lipstick color application. The first color I used was the Dose of Color matte lipstick in Mood. Filled the whole part of the lips up together and blended it like so. Then I picked up my MAC Lip Pencil in Minds Mode, which is much darker than the other two I used to further define our outer corner. Blend it all out before going into my Colored Raine liquid lipstick in Film, which is a bit more bronzy and shimmery. Apply this in the center of our lips, blend it all together. Cleaned out the outer corners of our lips with a concealer, the shade of our color, or you can use a foundation. Applied the highlighter and the cupid bow, then a bit of gloss. Straight to my eye mascara, I used my MAC mascara to brush out the upper part and bottom part and set our face with my Skindinavia makeup finishing spray, and this is the finished look, ladies.
Woo! Oh my god, I look slay. I can't believe this. I don't think I've ever looked like this before.
Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and please don't forget to subscribe if you aren't subscribed already. Thumbs up and comment. Thank you so much for all the love and support you show me on my previous videos. Please do remember to subscribe if you aren't subscribed already, and thank you for the 1000 plus subscribers. Yay, let's keep it coming. Do take care and see you in my next video. Bye.